We should be good to go.
All right, this is a mayor manager meeting on, it is July 21st at 8:34 a.m. And in the room, I got to look at the participant list, is Allison McKinney-Brown, Jade Truscott-Reed, Nathaniel Sierra, Stephanie Carlisle, and Shawn Lewis, and Linda Olson.
Good morning. We're getting ready for the telephone town hall, and I'm expecting some questions from council members if I don't already have them in my inbox. Had some additional conversations with Cheryl last night about that. On the 20th, does anybody have any questions about that?
She also texted me last night. I don't know if you texted or called at that hour. I hope you weren't up too late. But she was asking for a framework, and I wondered if part of the problem is that people don't understand why we're doing this and what our point is. Do you think we're not clearly communicating that, or it's the, I mean, because I think it's pretty clear from the segments that you're doing. But anyway, what do you think, Shawn?
Well, I think I was taking my cues from council, who said you really wanted to know what the public thought. Mm-hmm. So when we started the conversation with the 8 Can't Wait, with some of the 21st century policing stuff, we took those kind of broad themes and concepts, worked that into the informational report, and then divided the sections of the town hall into those kind of related sections. So I'd love to know if there's a better way to communicate that to the public, the what and the why.
Maybe in my intro to the whole thing, I can explain that in case there's other confusion. I thought your sections are clearly what we asked for. And we should have responded to your, the questions you sent out to give some better perspective if we wanted to tweak any, but I think they make sense. Nathaniel, have you looked at them enough?
Over the questions themselves?
With the way it's set up, the structure of it, it's really the flow of it. The topic areas and the questions then that come.
Oh yeah, I looked over the questions. That was the email from last week, right, Shawn?
Yes.
All right. Well, Shawn, if you want to talk later about any of it, I'm glad to do that. I don't want it to hold up anything.
Okay, and hopefully I can talk to Cheryl also.
Okay, good.
I don't have an email from her this morning, but I'll get with her today.
Oh, okay. Did you get mine?
Yes, I did.
Okay, it's just tweaking some of them. I thought they were fine overall.
Okay. Very good. Moving on to the 27th, we have it's a study session format. We have returned to in-person meetings. Mayor, I wanted to ask about this one in that I think Stephanie and I will be gathering up some information for you guys. She and Maria DeAndre, due to Maria's role with facilities, have been working on some options for you all. And so really that's all I was planning on communicating in the council memo, is just some of those options for returning to in-person. But let me know what you and Nathaniel would like for that memo to look like. It's really your decision.
Yeah, it is. I think probably what council needs to know is what kind of a lift is this for you all, and how would we handle public input? Because I think we need to allow for people to both come face to face and electronically into a conversation if they wanted comments. So otherwise, I'm not. Right now, I don't see a huge need to go back, but we've got 7 people who have their views and want to have different ways of doing it. So I don't know what people are going to think about this one way or the other, but I think they need to know what the lift is for you all.
Okay.
And how many people does that require to be there for that evening? And what kind of cleaning would happen if people did show up face to face? How would that occur? I mean, I'm sure we can distance them, that big room, but people
Okay.
get up and leave. Who does someone have to clean after that, or do we ask people to stay put and leave, or can they come and go? That kind of thing. I don't know. Daniel, do you have any perspective on that?
No, I think those are basically the questions. Yeah, and I don't think it needs to be much more than that. I think it's just gonna be a free-flowing conversation based off of what we discussed last time, so.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. The second item on your agenda is the water and sewer rate and fee progress update. So this will be some information, but refined, that you saw in the first presentation that had lots of different options. Based on your feedback, Peter and his team are really zeroing in on some of those other options. Judge Jefferson will be giving a court update on the 27th. We'll also have the June 2020 financial review and discussion of Title 16 community outreach joint session with Planning and Zoning Commission. I have had a request for from the judge's office for the judge to be first if possible. And I told him I would bring that to your attention.
Why?
I can't remember if he had a conflict that night or not.
Whatever.
Whatever. I don't think I have too much of an issue with that. Although it's not like we go long on the financial review unless there's going to be.
Yeah, I'm sure financial review could be first. That's kind of your tradition. But if he could be maybe second.
That's fine.
Oh, yeah, there it was in the notes. I guess I had already passed that on to you, hadn't I, Jane? Thank you.
Well, actually, just before we go, Shawn, do you know if there's going to be any major information within that June financial?
It's actually going to be pretty positive. I mean, not like glowing, but it's actually positive.
Still not negative, I guess. Not
correct.
Okay. All right. So no, I'm fine with keeping that first then.
Yeah. Moving on to August 3rd, we have Go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt. Do you guys want to discuss times before we move on, or?
Let's. And then also, if we can make sure we put informational or direction on it, so we know if staff are asking for direction. I think we've left that off a few times.
Will do.
Thanks, Jade. So for the return to in-person meetings, we have not estimated. I can't imagine our presentation would be more than 7-8 minutes. 5 to 10.
Let's say 10, and then let's have a conversation.
Okay.
Probably more question and answer than anything else and I think one of the questions is how someone because you all use thermometers, right, when you go into work. Is that right? Still in your offices, do you do that? We do. Yeah, so I think the question would be, will we do that as well? That's another question that, right. As city councilors, do we do that as well? And what kind of precautions would we take in that area? Okay. I just thought of that. Yeah, we actually do a temp and symptoms check. Okay. Yeah, I have to do those at work too, or if I go in.
Would you like the Q&A to be 20 minutes or longer?
What do you think, Nathaniel?
I would say, 10-minute presentation, 20-minute Q&A. I think we covered a lot of the points last time, so I think 20 seems realistic.
I think 30 minutes is probably better. But I don't know. I really don't know what people are thinking about it at this point.
I see. I disagree. I think I know where people stand.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah.
You
So-
think it's going to be quicker? Okay, that's fine. 20 minutes.
Okay, and then we are projecting another 30-minute presentation on water and sewer rate fee. Although
Is
he will
that
not,
presented to Water and Sewer Board?
yes.
Okay.
And you guys heard that last week?
2 weeks ago. Was that last week? Yeah, I think you're right. Last Tuesday.
And so any estimate on how much Q&A you would like to have on that?
30?
Yeah. I don't know. There's not a lot of new things in what we're being presented, right?
No, I think it's just going to be digging into the options a little further. You mostly heard information last time, I think. And I didn't get with Peter on this, but it seems like we should have a little shorter presentation and more discussion than we did last time. But
I would prefer that. I really would. I think that we can, if it's really laid out, what are the options? What do we need to give feedback on? If we could get it down to a 15 to very max 20-minute presentation, and then I found it a little bit hard to get I pushed Water and Sewer Board to actually give feedback, because they just sat and listened and went, okay, and then moved on and went, wait. Council needs your perspective on this. So I think that's what we should do again.
okay, well, I'll try to get him down to 20 minutes on that, and then maybe 30 for you all.
Yeah.
So then Linda and Shawn, since Linda, you've already heard it, how different is it than the presentation that we received about a month ago, where we covered all three?
To be honest, I didn't think it was all that different, but maybe he could highlight what's really different in it.
Yeah, it's just really digging into the different options and what that looks like, and how we rank in others compared to other cities, what that will buy us. I think there may be a little more discussion with regard to if you did this additional amount, we could actually do water taste improvements. If you did this, we could be more aggressive on lead service lines. I mean, so there's some pretty big
None of that came to Water and Sewer Board. So if that's the kind of stuff he can do, that's phenomenal. Let's do that. We don't need another set of PowerPoints that explains the stuff that's in the magazine and that we've seen. We need to drill down to get, okay, you could have this or you could have that for this amount. I think the Water and Sewer Board was pretty positive about, we're still way under the rates around the area. And yes, it's unfortunate that it turned out like this. But I think those kinds of things, Shawn, would be really helpful. And then if that's what he's looking, if you're all looking for that kind of feedback, it just wasn't set up like that before. And so I think if that's what you want, then ask for it.
Okay. Well, I think we've got the estimates there, and if something changes, I'll let you know beforehand. And then we have estimated 10-minute presentation from Judge Jefferson.
Probably 10-minute discussion, maybe. What do you think, Nathaniel? Well, we've got 30 minutes total. Is that what it? He's gonna show a video.
Well, I'm kind of curious. So there is going to be a presentation. So I guess I have to look at the presentation, because I do have a couple questions, but maybe just two without seeing a presentation. Yeah. It may go a little bit longer actually than 10 minutes.
Well, no, he's doing 10-minute presentation. Is that right? But is the short video part of that?
Correct. I believe there's like a 5-minute or so video. It'll be a short video during the presentation.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Shawn, he's going to have data not that's actually going to be put in the packet, not just given to us that night.
Jay, do you have anything on that? Yeah.
There is data in the council communication, so it will be to you before.
Great, because I think that's really helpful. Then we can ask questions about that. And I don't know, 10-minute presentation. If he thinks he can do that, then a 20-minute conversation, Nathaniel?
Sorry, I got my son bugging me. Yeah, I'm thinking 15 or 20 minutes.
Let's plan on 20 then. So 30 minutes overall, which is what Tamara probably put in, right? When she put 30 minutes in, did she mean that was what she thought the entire thing would take, or is that 30 minutes for a presentation?
I believe that's what her intentions were with the 30 minutes previously.
Okay, great.
All right, and then of course the financial review. The financial review will be obviously brief. What do we usually take, about 5 minutes on that?
Oh, I think her presentation's usually 10.
Yeah.
She's got such great quality slides on that, but she doesn't go over all of them, which is helpful. We can ask questions on any of them. And then what, 10 minutes, 15 minutes discussion? It might not be if it's really positive.
Yeah, it is positive, and I don't think we'll need too much discussion on it.
20 minutes max for the whole thing then?
Sure. And looks like we're already estimating for you on the discussion of Title 16.
So this was she was very concerned about having enough interaction time, and she also wanted to be clear about how many people would be attending this presentation. She is open to any changes if needed. Nancy is the person who normally puts these in for community development.
So their presentation's going to be 15 minutes. What is that going to entail, do you think?
It would be introductions for the 9 planning commissioners and consultants, as well as the subjects that they would like to have, basically the communication and the back and forth over the next 45 minutes.
But what's the goal of this discussion? To know what they're going to do, or to ask us for feedback on what we want them to be doing, or what? Do you know, Shawn?
I'm not exactly sure. What I do know is that 45 minutes is part presentation, but they really want it to be more interactive. Jade, is that your understanding?
Correct.
So the consultant's going to be there with them, is what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's 15 minutes just to introduce all of them?
To introduce the 9 planning commissioners and 3 consultants that'll be present.
I would like that to take 5 minutes.
Okay.
I don't need to take 15 minutes to introduce people, right?
Wait, who would be the 9 planning commissioners? Are there our planning and zoning committee?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we know them, don't we?
Say their name. We don't even need, yeah, we'll see them up on the Zoom, but I don't get what that is. Introductions with PowerPoint. Maybe the PowerPoint is introducing the whole topic. We can get a little bit more clarity on that. I think this is going to be a really important topic, so I want to make sure we know what our goal is. Is it setting it up so that they get started correctly in a way that is coherent with what we were hoping for, or is it, I don't know what they've done so far on this. But I'm fine to take an hour and 15 minutes on this total if we need to, or.
At least from my perspective, I like to understand the scope of what their scope of, we talking just about residentials? I know that recently we just been talking about some other changes in Title 16 that involve businesses. Is that part of their scope? Those are some of the questions that I would have, or that I would like to see covered as part of this.
Yeah, Shawn, if you could be really clear what our goal is with this session, and then let's just, follow it with what do you need from council at this point? Hopefully this is really building a good foundation for us working together as they go through this review. So expectations are really clear from the get-go.
Okay.
And we kind of covered some of this as well, Shawn, right? This came in front of council, in early June?
Right.
So we have some material from the city council meeting when we approved it. Okay. To me, it still seems like it's an introductory meeting. So.
Yeah, I agree. I'd like us to go to the next level. What do they need from us to make sure this is done really well? And what are they thinking of that we need interaction around? I think it'll be a really great point to get us working together.
Okay. We can make sure we get that out. Yeah, or we'll just outline it in the memo itself, I think. All right. Moving on to the August 3rd study session and council meeting. We've got a Citizen of the Year update, 2020 Municipal Traffic Code adoption, Communications Department update, and then moving into more regular session items, we have Romans Park Improvements Phase 2. We'll have a word of contract to Silva Construction for the construction of the 2020 concrete utility project, the EPBA agreement, IGA with Arapahoe County for 2020 coordinated general election, floodplain language adoption, IGA with State Department of Revenues for some sales use tax software, and that was unanimous.
No,
Correct.
it wasn't.
Ooh,
Wait.
the sales tax?
I think the software wasn't it?
Yeah.
Software was the only thing that wasn't was the floodplain. That was 6-1. And there's a council request on that one, so.
Right. And then and the next one is that Little Dry Creek Plaza drainage and flood control improvements. And then you've got the reviews. Those were, this agenda was shorter when we put those on there, wasn't it?
It was.
So we did have a couple of IGAs that did pop up, and that would be why it extended just a little bit.
Gotcha. All right, any questions on these?
Do we know how much time all that is? Do we need to?
So the municipal traffic code, I was thinking it would probably be a 10 to 15 minute presentation. It's a big document, but there's no way to cover it all. I thought that the three sections that council might want to discuss would be anything having to do with bicycle updates, anything having to do with speed limit updates, and anything having to do with how signs are replaced at the decision of the city engineer, or signs are put up by decision of the city engineer. So I thought those three things we could highlight, but there's no way I can cover a 200-page document. So I'm thinking 15 minutes, and then I'm going to send this out early to the council because it is a large document and they can review it, and as much time as you think they might want to ask questions at this study session format.
And then I don't think the EPBA agreement will take more than, 5 to 10 minutes. We're just hitting the highlights of that are different from the last one.
And that'll be the same for most of these. There's typically not a presentation, so people have just given a 5-minute estimate if there is a needed presentation for it. Just so you are aware.
Well, oh yeah, it's under consent, right? Okay, so you've got yes on that. Great. So I guess Romans Park can go somewhere else if we think this is getting too long, but we can make that decision next week too if we want. If anything else pops in there, but it's looking good.
Mhm.
They're making progress.
If we're doing both of the executive sessions, we just need to make sure that we've got the setup where we can do the way we did it last time. So I just want to make sure that IT is ready for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is we finish everything and we go into and we do both of them, right? And then come back out.
That's how we did it last time, yes.
Right.
This is probably going to be a little more complicated on the technical side because you'll have a separate phone number for Shawn and for me. I won't be in his executive session and he won't be in mine. So there's going to be some call-in changing things. So we'll have to get with the technology folks or move one of them to the next night.
I have a question about both of those. Do we have a document that we're going to utilize to give you feedback that's helpful? So it's not a free-for-all. We had a review document we've used in the past. Will we use that again or something different?
I haven't given any thought to this, unfortunately.
I've given no thought to it either. You know what though, Mayor? We will look around and see what we can find.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want it to be, it would be nice to have it in areas that you want feedback on and that are consistent with your job descriptions.
Okay. I know I did come across an article from ICMA that said helping councils evaluate, so I could.
You sent that to us, didn't you?
I don't know. Actually, I was cleaning my desk. It's Manager Evaluations Handbook from ICMA. It's actually not an article, but I can find that and forward it to you. Yeah, it looks like there's actually a rating form in here.
I've read that. I think we might have used it before.
Yeah.
Let's not make it onerous, but
Okay.
which they can get a little crazy, but I think some format that helps us be really helpful.
Okay.
A lot of helping words. It's 9 o'clock. I should be more awake.
All right. Jade, can you move us down a bit? Thank you. August 10th, we have a study session couple on Budget Advisory Committee 2020 Annual Report Review, as well as the review of proposed 2021 operating and capital budget.
Great. That's all we'll do that night, right? Is budget.
Yes, that's the plan.
Great.
August 17th, we have proposed stormwater improvement projects for a South Central Drainage Basin, including S3. We have appointment of some associate judges in municipal court, and you have the municipal court judge salary discussion.
Why is the judge present for that? He's going to present that. And will we have the study then, or I mean, will we have the information for comparison then?
Yes. So he's got. We're using his benchmark cities that he's given, and then the ones that the rest of the city used as well.
Okay, and they'll both be ready at the same time.
Yes.
Okay.
I think maybe they're already ready. If not, very shortly. Moving on to August 24th, we've got a study session on, the capital budget will be on August 24th, and then we'll have a financial review for July and amendments to Title 16 floodplain regulations. And then September 14th, building and fire code adoption. September 21st, Title 16 floodplain regulation amendments and a public hearing on the budget. and the August financial review.
I have a question. On the 14th of September, that is the only thing in our study session right now, right?
Correct.
Right.
Could we move that to the 8th and take September 14th off? I'm stealing an idea that Othaniel had of trying to give council a night off.
Mayor, I was gonna bring that up last night, but then I realized August has 5 Mondays, so we have the 31st of August off as well. I'm still open to it just because we have been doing multiple nights a week several times over the past 2-3 months. So, but I just wanted to bring it to your attention that there's a 5th Monday in August again.
You're right. Well, forget my idea then. Your idea. If we still want, if we want it in September, we still could go for it. But
Right.
I think we're one of the only councils that has not stopped. But we've got a lot going on.
Mm-hmm. So just keep it as is, and then we'll just potentially bring it up to council at the beginning of.
Would you like me to add that to the upcoming mayor choice?
Yeah, put it under Mayor Pro Tem choice so I don't get yelled at. But no.
Okay, I can put it under there.
Othaniel, you can just bring it up in your.
Oh, I'll bring it up. Yeah, I'll bring it up
choice next week. Doesn't need to be an item.
Mhm.
We're not talking about. We're talking about something a month away, month and a half.
Well, I'm writing it down now, but if I forget, feel free to remind me next.
I totally forgot last night till the meeting was over. I was thinking you were going to bring it up, and then I forgot.
All right. Do you want to move on to the council requests?
Yeah.
I am sorry. I didn't have sleep last night. I've not been. Yeah. Anyway.
I'm sending you one of my Red Bulls. And,
I just made an espresso. I just had a really hard time falling asleep, and
oh, I got to bed so late myself.
Yeah.
The council request, one that we got was from Anderson and reiterated by, I think, Cuesta maybe, or maybe I'm reversing those. What is the process and criteria for having a stop sign placed in a neighborhood?
Right. Well, and then particularly that area that the citizen brought up.
Yeah,
If we could take a look at that one in particular, it sounds like.
Okay, what was the intersection there?
Bannock and Radcliffe is what I wrote down.
Yeah.
But I'm going to send an email to ETAG so they can put it on their agenda.
Yeah, and there actually she brought up a couple, Jason and Bannock, Radcliffe and Bannock. There were a couple times where I wasn't sure, and then once in a while it was Broadway, and I thought, wait, I don't know exactly what the area is. Maybe I don't know, maybe Cuesta or.
I think Councilmember Cuesta's was in general as a whole what the process would be if people want to do that. I do feel like his was more generally speaking what the process would look like, but I know that the other one was very specific, and I also heard Bannock, Radcliffe.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll just do those as two different ones.
Yeah, put them both. Yeah, put them both in.
Great. And then the other one that I'm going to get with Rita on, and I think, and she said she would follow up, I think, but was regarding the contract for the Little Dry Creek flood control, and how the DDA could potentially, if at all, affect that contract. But I'm a little sketchy on the details, so I'll get with her on that.
Yeah, it actually was brought up in the meeting I had before this with the chamber, because Judy Brown's familiar with that area. We were both on housing authority for a while together, and the flood area was concerned. We were concerned about the flooding in that area, so I guess we just need to know which comes first. I mean, the IGA is going to come before the DDA for sure. And does that mean that we've got the right to do it? Can you get sued for something you did earlier to mitigate flood?
She asked me that question during the meeting, and I thought that it might be helpful if we actually put in writing an explanation of the scope of the DDA's authority as opposed to the scope of the city's authority, because while I don't think that one is going to impact the other, I think having this new authority there is difficult to conceptualize at this level. So I think this is a really good opportunity for us to better educate the council and the community on exactly what the scope of the DDA's authority is going to be in that area, because they're not going to have total control over things like flood control and other decisions. It's not like this area secedes from the city or anything. So anyway, I thought that we would look at it from a little broader perspective.
Yeah, thanks for that clarification, Allison. I guess I had never even thought that someone could think that, because that is not within the scope of a DDA. They do not have governmental jurisdiction. The only thing that's remotely similar is their ability to levy taxes, but that still requires voter approval. But the city retains all regulatory control, as well as control over infrastructure decisions. The DDA simply acts as almost like a recommending body to provide recommendations and say, here, we've got this money that we will recommend putting towards this infrastructure project, but that's totally at the discretion of the city. So I'm sorry if I kind of missed the point of the question, but yeah, DDAs are not governmental, they're not cities by any means.
I think there's still quite a bit of misunderstanding around a DDA, or maybe it's more, what the interplay is with future intent. So I don't know.
Right.
Whatever you can write, Allison, to help us see what the limits are for each would probably be good. I just didn't see what the connection could be. I mean, it'd be like saying we put in stormwater over here, therefore the business can't dig that deep anymore, and can the business then sue for not being able to dig deep? I don't know. I don't understand it either for that kind of impact.
I think everybody's conceptualizing it just a little bit differently. So I just thought this would give us the opportunity to get everybody on the same page. And I'll work with the DDA team and come up with something. And I already have asked Maureen to go back and actually pull the 2 times Councilmember Russell spoke about this, pull her language out of the meeting to make sure that we respond specifically to her questions as well as answer this broader question.
Yeah, it might not hurt to give her a call and make sure she's articulating. I mean, what we're hearing is what she's really meaning too.
Sounds good. And that's all I had from last night.
I have 2 extras. I'm wondering, and I don't know if this is even possible, is there data on off-leash hours? Well, no. First of all, I wanted to get the 2009, but I've already asked that. But there are decisions that were made in 2009. And so if we can find, back then we had verbatim minutes, even if you can believe that. So it should be just, it's not even an audio. I mean, there would be an audio. Was it recorded? Yeah. So there were some kinds of decisions about off-leash hours that were decided in 2009, and I think that the Unleashed folks made that clear. And I can ask Jim Woodward again to look. He keeps everything. If you can't find anything from the clerk's office of doing a complete review, that would be really helpful. I mean, I sat through really much longer meetings than last night around people coming from both sides. And then, is there any way to measure the economic impact of off-leash outside Englewood users? I mean, people are making lots of claims about that, but is there any way to know whether that's probably not, right?
Certainly not in-house. There are, companies we could contact with to determine that.
That was probably too small of a population to worry about. I've always worried about leakage more than anything else. That we have lots of people coming into the city and we just don't gather their buying power in the city, particularly the employees of our hospital district. But
though, I'm a dog person, and I would never stop anywhere on the way to or from a dog park because I'm not leaving my dogs alone in the car. So if people do have that one rare dog that they're comfortable leaving alone in a car while they get out and go into a business, I think that would be way too small of a number for us to even conceptualize measuring.
Thank you. I have a dog that I would never leave in the car very long either. So, and I certainly wouldn't go in and sit at a bar. I don't know if we have bars that have dog friendliness or not, but maybe we do.
We do.
I guess I haven't gone to them with dogs. So, but there was something else around the off leash I wanted to ask, and I can't find my notes. So if I think of it, I'll bring it back later. But I think that covers.
Mayor, I wanted to jump in on that. There was a discussion and the meeting was going so late last night, I did not want to interrupt in any way. But one of the council members suggested that what we needed to do to proceed forward was send fine reviews to the CEAC, and another council member wasn't sure that would be helpful. The fines are set by the judge, and that's by code. So I'm not exactly sure what the role of the Code Enforcement Advisory Committee was supposed to be. I was almost wondering if we might need to do a quick informational, probably just memo to council, letting them understand the separation of powers between the court and the city on those kinds of issues.
I certainly would appreciate that. I felt a little uncomfortable with that as well. I just needed to know what the fines were. I couldn't find them. 50, 100, 150 seems to be what they are. I do have a question about that, though. Maybe it is a council request. When were doing masking, we were going to just set them, and they just got set forward on what was it, $15 and $25. It seems like we don't really find, we aren't fining much, or we're not moving it to a fine level for off leash. And that's part of the issue. And I'm sure that it's because council's been very back and forth about whether we should be strict or not. But when a fine or when a citation is given, it's definitely going to go to court, right?
No.
So just be a fine straightforward like the masking?
Okay, first, when the judge comes, it would, to speak to you all, I think it would be interesting to ask him about how he sets the fine schedule. So you'll hear that from him directly. There is a process that allows fines to be set and paid through what's called the Violations Bureau. And it's for very small offenses, like we put the masking under that, and if you're not shoveling your snow and those kind of things. We've run a few things through what's called the Violations Bureau, but for the most part, if the ticket is set that it requires coming to court, or the person wants to come to court, then the fine actually goes underneath the authority of the judge. So it's a dual process, and it's interesting. I haven't worked in a city that set it up this way before, and I think that if it took me a while to work my way through it, I can't criticize any member of council who hasn't conceptualized it yet.
Yeah, I think it is confusing. If we could get that written up, that'd be great. I mean, you pay parking tickets, you pay speeding tickets without going before the judge, and they're just straightforward unless you want to. So I think there's a confusion that somehow nothing happens when someone gets the fine and that they have to go before a judge. But maybe that's my confusion.
Well, people are always able to fight the ticket, right? If they feel that they're not guilty of it and they're able to provide evidence, they're able to go through the due process, correct?
Right, and that's the problem that we had with the masking order, is while we set fines for the Violation Bureau, if people would just pay their ticket, we can't take away people's right to contest the ticket. And if someone contested it and set it for trial, the judge would impose a fine after hearing all the facts. So if the judge thought that the set of facts were particularly egregious, the judge may very well go beyond the $15 that the city manager imposed at the Violations Bureau. Or if the judge thought that there was a reason for someone not to wear their mask, he might waive the fine. So the judge has a lot of discretion after a trial, but yeah, so no, we couldn't take that authority away from people.
Well, we don't have people using it that much, do we? I mean, do we know how many dog fined people have gone to court to overturn their fine?
You know, we can get that information. I can tell you that the prosecutor does deal with dog cases on a very regular basis.
Oh, well then, yeah, maybe that's another council request, is how many are actually taking this to the court system. But I would appreciate any overview of what the roles are in this, so we're all clear what, you know, when a ticket is written, what happens, and what's the role of CEAC in that, the court, the code officer.
I'm writing all this down as you speak.
I'm hopeful that we're going to get to the other side of this a bit, although I still think that regardless, dogs are in the community of both when they are on leash or off leash, that there's issues, you know. I was walking with our dog yesterday, and some dog came charging at her with who's on a leash, and that's just normal walking dogs, and they get upset with each other. You know, there were a lot of ideas that came up with those who presented or who spoke last night. Was anybody keeping track of all those?
You know,
Dina is that probably the person who those ideas?
Mayor, I thought they were amazing ideas, and I haven't done anything about that yet, but I was going to ask Maureen to listen to that portion of the meeting and just take notes on the various ideas that people verbalized. And when I get that list, I'm happy to share it.
I think it'll be nice. All right, are we done? Oh, I'm sorry it went this long.
I think so.
All right, it's 9:21 and this mayor manager meeting is adjourned. Have a good day, everybody.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.